God message today. My cherished soul, whispered the angel, her voice trembling through the air like morning mist clinging to mountain peaks. There's something extraordinary unfolding, a revelation wrapped in divine urgency, not tomorrow, not someday, but now. In a quiet town nestled between the hills of Eloan Valley, the wind carried whispers that only a few could hear, whispers that repeated the name Kyle. His name drifted in conversations around wooden tables, lingered in the minds of strangers, and echoed through the silent sighs of prayer. Unseen by human eyes, the spiritual realm had taken notice. Kyle had no idea. He'd only felt the tremors, those midnight awakenings where his spirit stirred with unrest. He'd walked through his days sensing an invisible shift, an unseen presence watching and waiting. He thought he was imagining it, but the truth was far more sacred than fiction. In the celestial halls of the unseen, voices murmured, Kyle of Eloan, the time has come. Across the country, in the city of Avalis, a woman named Elira sat alone, lit by the glow of candlelight. She had been hearing things, soft whispers in the quiet moments, her name spoken in dream fragments. She thought she was losing touch, but she too was being summoned by something holy, something real. The angel continued, now with fervor. You are not forgotten, Kyle. Elira, you are being spoken of in the highest places, not in passing, but with purpose. The heavens had gathered in sacred council, and your name, yes, your name, was written in light and spoken in reverence. There is no coincidence in this. You are not hearing this message by accident. The air around you is thick with spiritual electricity because heaven is trying to get your attention. There is a sacred storm rising, and at its heart is you. It began subtly, a friend mentioning you out of the blue, a stranger recognizing you for something you didn't even know you carried, doors creaking open that you never knocked on. Kyle felt it when the librarian remembered his full name without ever meeting him before. Elira sensed it when a child she'd never seen looked up at her and said, You're important, my dear ones. The angel whispered again. There are conversations taking place, conversations you were never invited to, but are at the center of. These are not ordinary exchanges, they're spiritually charged. In the throne room of the Most High, your name is part of a divine blueprint being unraveled in real time. The Lord, full of grace and fire, has leaned in. He's seen the rooms you were left out of. He's heard the murmurings in shadows and the praises whispered in awe. Every conversation, both pure and poisoned, he has witnessed. The one who shaped the stars sees what is said about you behind closed doors. He knows the motives behind the mentions. He sees the falsehoods masked as concern. He hears the encouragements passed quietly to lift your soul. Not one word has escaped him. Let this truth settle deep. You are not being ignored. You are being positioned. Heaven is placing your name into spaces you haven't yet arrived. You are being prepared for doors that require your name to be known before your feet even cross the threshold. This is divine strategy, not happenstance. There are people speaking well of you, declaring your integrity and compassion. These are spirit led acknowledgments aligning with heaven's vision for your life. Someone is discussing your promotion. Someone is moved by your kindness. A door is opening in a room you haven't even imagined. But not all conversations are holy. In the dark corners of envy, the enemy stirs confusion. Misunderstandings twist your intentions. Words are spun to harm, not heal. There are those who mistake your peace for pride, your quiet for weakness. Their whispers are not guided by the Spirit but by fear, bitterness, or jealousy. But take heart, you are not defenseless. For every word spoken against you, there is a Shai. He is intercepting slander. He is silencing lies. He is rewriting the narrative with truth, grace, and justice. Kael, Elira, you are not alone. You are not vulnerable. The God of angel armies has surrounded you, and the whispers you hear in the night, that stirring in your chest, that is the Holy Spirit awakening you to what is realer than the ground beneath your feet. My beloved, the angel now sang, voice woven with divine yearning. Don't sleep through this moment. Heaven is moving, destiny is knocking. You cannot afford to be spiritually silent. You must rise with the urgency of the Spirit. Words carry weight. As Proverbs 18:21 teaches, the tongue holds the power of life and death. Every time your name is spoken, something is being released. A seed planted, a path redirected, a truth uncovered. You are not being spoken of idly. These are not aimless opinions. These are spiritual transactions shaping your present and framing your future. Do you feel the tension in the atmosphere? Do you sense the spiritual activity hovering around you? That's because something holy is being born. In Avalis, Elira found herself weeping one morning without knowing why. In Elowen, Cale dreamt of doors and keys and voices he couldn't recognize but somehow understood. These were not hallucinations, they were divine signals, markers of a greater movement they were part of without even trying. Your name, yes, your name, is being inscribed on scrolls of purpose. God is highlighting you in rooms you've never entered, among people you've never met. You are being discussed not only for where you are, but for where you are destined to go. You are more than what others think of you. You are what God knows of you, and He has called you chosen. There will be days when your heart aches from misunderstanding, when the rumors feel heavier than truth. But don't retaliate. Don't lose your peace. Hold to love. Let righteousness speak louder than reaction. You are not here to fight shadows. You are here to carry light. And those who whisper against you, they may not realize it, but they are only fueling your testimony. What the enemy meant for evil is being repurposed into your elevation. Every harsh word is a chisel carving out your platform. Every hidden insult is a tool in the hands of the Master. Heaven doesn't waste pain. The angel's voice softened now, brushing the air like a lullaby. Hold on, she breathed. Your name is a flame, and heaven has not only spoken it, but sealed it. Let this be the hour you stop doubting your worth. Let this be the moment you realize your story is being authored by the divine, not in secret, not in shame, but in splendor. Kyle, Elira, you are not who they say you are. You are who God says you are. Lift your eyes. Listen closely. Heaven is calling, and your name is echoing through eternity. Title: The Whisper Beyond the Mountain. A Divine Destiny Unfolds. In a quiet town, nestled beneath the cedar covered mountains of Valewood, a woman named Elara sat beside a flickering lamp. Her hands trembled, not from fear, but from the weight of silence. Lately, the winds of rumor and misunderstanding had grown louder than the whispers of peace. She could hear her name echo in conversations she wasn't part of, misunderstood, mislabeled, and tossed like a pebble into the restless lake of human opinion. But Elara had something the world couldn't take, a promise from God. In the stillness of that candlelit room, she opened her journal, worn and tear stained. Written across the top of the page were the words, "Covered by the blood, chosen by the King. No weapon shall prosper." These weren't just scriptures to her, they were survival, they were armor. Unknown to Elara, Miles away in a glass tower in the city of Leora, a conversation was taking place in a boardroom. A man named Asher, a business leader with influence and vision, had just been handed a proposal for a new community outreach initiative. He scanned the guy. Heaven was speaking her name. Back in Valewood, Ilara stepped into the morning air. The sky looked like it had been freshly painted, yet her heart carried clouds. Still, she whispered a prayer, one she'd prayed 100 times before. Lord, they don't see me clearly, but you do. Cover me, guide me, speak for me. And in that moment, a divine shift began. Ilara had no idea that her name had been brought into rooms she'd never entered, that mentors she hadn't met yet were reading her work, that spiritual leaders had dreamt of a woman with her voice, that doors she hadn't knocked on were swinging open, not because of her effort, but because of God's orchestration. She remembered what her mother once told her before she passed. There will come a time when your name is in the wind. Don't chase it. Stand still. God will carry it where it needs to go. Now, that time had come, but the attacks still came. Subtle accusations, rumors whispered among those who didn't understand her assignment. Friends turned quiet. Some even walked away, and the temptation to respond in the flesh burned like wildfire in her chest. But she remembered this was a test. Would she protect her image or let God protect her purpose? Would she fight for her reputation or stand still and let heaven speak louder than lies? Instead of defending herself, she fell to her knees. Instead of gossiping in return, she fasted. She prayed. She forgave. She whispered aloud, I will not let the words of others define what God has already settled. In the spirit realm, angels moved. What she did not know, what no eye could see, was that Jesus was interceding for her. Right there, in the throne room, her name was being spoken, not with accusation, but with favor. Romans 8:34 echoed like thunder. Christ Jesus is at the right hand of God, interceding for us. In her spirit she felt a still soft voice say, Elara, hold your peace. I'm working behind the scenes. Doors you haven't imagined are opening. Your obedience in silence is your loudest praise. And so she chose 5 powerful responses. 1. She prayed for discernment. She fasted for clarity and began to see signs, divine nudges, God timed conversations, and a peace that made no sense in the storm. She turned down opportunities that glittered but weren't gold. She waited on God's yes. 2. She spoke life over her name. Each morning, Ilara stood before the mirror and declared, I am not who they say I am. I am who God says I am. My name is blessed, protected, and called for this generation. 3. She guarded her character with integrity. Instead of reacting, she responded with grace. Instead of bitterness, she chose kindness. Even when falsely accused, she remembered 1 Peter 2:12. Live such good lives that they may see your good deeds and glorify God. 4. She forgave quickly. It wasn't easy, her heart ached, but she released every offense, not for them, but for her freedom. She knew that bitterness was a spiritual leash, and she longed to run freely into her destiny. 5. She prepared for open doors. While the world slept on her calling, she studied. She prayed, she wrote, she planned. She didn't wait for the spotlight to shine, she prepared for it quietly. Psalm 31:15 rang in her ears, My times are in your hands. And then one evening, as the rain fell gently outside, her phone rang. It was a call from Leora, a woman representing Asher's organization. Ilara, we've been following your work. We're starting something new, and we believe you're the one to lead it. Her knees buckled. Tears streamed. The same girl they whispered about in gossip circles was now being chosen in decision rooms. God had spoken her name. It wasn't about luck, it was divine timing, it was alignment. In that moment, she understood every trial, every tear, every test. They weren't detours, they were preparation. And now, as she looked back, she whispered through trembling lips, Jesus, you really did see me. And somewhere in heaven, so to you reading this now, your name is being spoken in rooms your feet haven't entered. Your character is preparing you for crowns unseen. You are not forgotten, you are being fortified. Every delay is divine, every silence is sacred, every tear is treasured. God is not just watching, He's working. So walk forward, not with fear, but with fire, not with doubt, but with destiny. The glory of God is about to be revealed in your life, and nothing can stop it. This is your moment. Step into it. Heaven has called your name. Type yes if you believe in Ode. Type 11 among 11 if you believe in God.